Hi, I am ThatPaulGuy, and it's Thursday. Thursday, August 1st, 2019. Go pay your rent. Rent's due. Some of you guys have a grace period. People like me, we don't. We got to go pay it on the 1st. Or you can just get online and pay it. First up today, space news. SpaceX has tested a new rocket engine, their Starship prototype Starhopper. A successful test the other day of a takeoff and landing untethered. So it lifted off and then it turned around and landed. This will eventually go on their Starship, which will be able to carry not only freight and cargo, but up to 100 people to Mars. Elon Musk has said that about 2 weeks or so, he's going to let us know what his plans for Mars are. But in the meantime, they're going to continue with more of these tests, and this could be ready for commercial use by, say, 2021 or so. But stay tuned, about 2 more weeks and we'll know what Elon's plans for colonizing Mars are. But this will be big enough, like I said, to handle freight cargo and 100 people at a time. So it's pretty interesting. Also in SpaceX news, NASA has awarded the contract or told SpaceX, hey look, we're going to rely on you to figure out how to fuel in space. So evidently there are procedures for using supercooled fuels to load onto the rockets when they're getting ready on the launch pad has been effective enough and safe enough that they've said, hey look, figure out how to do it while you're in space and handle all the refueling things. So they're relying on SpaceX to figure that out, and because it is pretty cold in space, so evidently that's a good deal. And so SpaceX ought to be pretty happy with that brand new contract. Speaking of brand new contracts, the government very, very quietly awarded Northrop Grumman, the people that make airplanes, they awarded them a contract to make minimal life support habitats that be for use on the moon, one presumes, because, well, they kind of said it was for use on the moon. There's no real deal as to when they're going to be used, how big they need to be, or anything like that. But Northrop Grumman has been hired to, kind of under the radar, they've been hired to build these habitats and develop these habitats so that we can actually start colonize the moon, it seems. Not to be outdone, the Japanese Space Administration, JAXA, recently released video of the Hayabusa 2. This is a probe that was sent up to the Ryugu asteroid that is roughly in Earth's orbit. It's a less stable orbit and it's a little bit different plane, and it's a pretty small object. It's not really in too much danger of harming Earth. But their probe has gone up there and now landed on this asteroid and taking soil samples and stuff like that. They released some video. This will also make a return trip next year back to Earth. So it's actually landing on a foreign body and returning to Earth. That's a pretty significant thing. That doesn't happen too often. And it hasn't really happened, I don't know, 45, almost 50 years, just saying. So also in Japan, as far as tech news is concerned, Sony, you know those folks, Sony, the ones that have sold 100 million PlayStations now, 100 million PlayStation 4s, incredible. They have now developed a personal, I guess you could say experimental, but it's a personal air conditioner that's a crowd-funded project. It's called the Rion Rocket, and it is pocket size. It actually fits in a pocket. One would presume, on the back of your neck or something like that, or I don't know if it would work in a front pocket. I do know it's a crowd-funded thing, and it's only available in Japan right now. No word if it will work on Pampers diapers. Last week, got to keep up. That was last week. Anyway, yeah, so personal air conditioners could be on the way. NVIDIA released their RTX 2080 last week, and the reason why I didn't talk about it last week is because it was so darn exciting. Yep, just like that. Actually, a lot of people were pretty upset with NVIDIA because they expected something better. But I get it. The 2060 Super and the 2070 Super were both built off the Next Step Up's architecture. Well, they didn't do that with the 2080 Super because then you're interfering with their top of the line model, the 2080 Ti, which is $400 more. And you don't want to cannibalize that market, so I get it. The 2080 Super has now come out. They've got the 60, 70, and 80, and they're still top dog for the moment. But AMD is doing all right. AMD is filling out their lineup of central processing units, or CPUs, with 3 more models. And they are rumored to be coming out with a new Navi video card, or a GPU, later this year. Now, I say rumored, but on the earnings call yesterday from Lisa Su, who's the CEO, she did say that they are coming out with a top-tier Navi video card, or a GPU, Don't know exactly when or anything, so we'll have to kind of keep our ear to the ground and find out what's going on there. Also in AMD news, yep, it sounds like a lot of stuff going on with AMD. Google has decided that Intel is not filling their needs anymore. That Google is going to start using AMD's EPYC server chips on their servers instead of the Intel Xeon processors. There's been some issues that Google has had with the Xeon processors. They're not really happy about it, so now they're turning to AMD, and let's hope that AMD can kind of fill the bill there. And competition is good, folks. I mean, the more people that are out there putting out a quality product, the better the competition is, the better it is for us, because prices come down, we can afford it, and everybody wins. You sell more units, prices come down, we can buy more units. Everybody's happy. It's not all bad for Intel, though. They've finally started shipping some of their 10 nanometer processors. Their CPUs, I've started shipping to what they call OEM makers, or original equipment manufacturers. Those companies actually will be the ones making their notebooks, or making notebooks that have Intel processors in them. But that's not going to come out until next year, sometime in 2020, and it is only going to be in notebooks. Their 10 millimeter processors are only going to be in notebooks. They ought to be pretty good, but they're not going to be very widespread as far as us being able to use them in a regular PC and to game with or anything. Speaking of gaming and gaming related stuff, don't look now. Shh, be very quiet about it. But evidently there is a hack. There's an Android hack for your Nintendo Switch. I'm just going to put it that way. It works on the same processor, the Tegra processor that the NVIDIA Shield works on, which is a gaming system that NVIDIA puts out. It is an Android system that is actually a game system. So the theory here is that not only will you be able to play Android games, but you'll be able to play NVIDIA Shield games on your Nintendo Switch. This is a hack. I can't think that Nintendo would be very, very happy about it, but no official word from Nintendo on what they actually do think about this yet. So in actual real live gaming, and I speak like real live gaming, Grand Theft Auto Online has opened their casino. And you can use it. You can even buy online currency with real money, unless you are in 50 different countries around the world that prohibit it. It really depends on what your laws are as far as gambling around the country or around the world, but there are 50 countries that have already said, no, you're not going to be using, you can't use the casino. And so they've banned the use of that on their online gaming. Now some of these are typical countries, like North Korea, China, and stuff like that, but some other ones aren't. All I can say is try it. If it works for you, then great. If you're even playing GTA online, you may or may not be. But yeah, gambling. Now, this is not to be confused with loot boxes, which you can still buy even in those 50 countries, because after all, loot boxes are surprise mechanics. They're not gambling. Again, last week. You gotta go back. Yeah, last week. Anyway, CD Projekt Red. That's the publisher that is making Cyberpunk 2077. They have told everybody that they're going to keep everything on a level playing field for all users. All people that are going to be playing their game will get the same content. It doesn't matter if you pre-order it. It doesn't matter if you buy it 3 years from now. It doesn't matter if you're on a Sony PlayStation. It doesn't matter if you're on an Xbox or a PC. Everybody will be able to have access to the same exact content. I don't know if that's good or bad. I kind of like sometimes when, say, PlayStation or Xbox has an exclusive one way or the other, and you might have something somebody else doesn't have. But this might make cross-platforming very, very easy for everybody if everybody has the same stuff. It's nice to know that everybody will at least have access to the same material or the same gameplay stuff, and everybody has an equal shot at having the same kind of gameplay experience. Even though everybody's going to be different, it's nice to know that at least they're trying to keep everything, sort of on a level playing field. So that's all I got for right now, folks. So always feel welcome to subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave me any kind of comments you want, any kind of questions, good or bad, anything like that. The little bell icon will tell you when more of these videos are coming out. And like I said, that's all I got right now. I'll come out and do something else this weekend, but for right now, that's all I got. So I'll see you later.